And of course, the horse that I was talking about is going to be banned away straight away, as Gragas is going to be the response.
Yeah, speaking of Hecarim, I expect that this champion select will be a lot focused around jungle priority.
Yeah.
Gragas, Hecarim, Rek'Sai, all of the likes should be taken away or considered.
Well, Karma is going to be the second ban here on the side of Snake, getting rid of that for Caveman, as Vladimir going to hit the bench. Vici sort of tunneled into this one due to the fact that they are on that red side. Snake going to get rid of Twisted Fate, so easyhoon not going to be on the card dealer, not going to have that, I guess, flexibility, rotational prowess around the map.
Yeah, and we're taking a turn here. It's not going the jungle route, it's actually going towards mid lane, so Tank and easyhoon having their champion pools limited. It should be the Ryze final ban for Vici, although they could look towards Lissandra, as again, both easyhoon and Tank are fairly reliant on it.
Yeah, very good point. As SOFM going to waste no time locking in that Rek'Sai. Flandre picks that one up for him, and now Vici. Opportunities for the Braum. Of course, we saw it banned in both games last time around as Dandy. I like it. Bit of Rengar. I did get a little bit excited about Rengar possibly making his way back when mobility boots no longer get cancelled by killing wards.
I have a feeling
Lissandra being considered as well.
It's going to be Braum. Lissandra would be my guess for Vici here in this champion select, just because it's also a big pickup for Caveman. Very strong on that Braum. We've seen a lot of priority throughout the LPL.
And when easyhoon can prioritize a fantastic champion for himself, but also deny a comfort pick away from Tank, that is definitely a big deal. But the Azir is still there. Tank has been, you know, making improvements on that champion, has looked a whole lot better. But Vici do play around this Lissandra very effectively, as Braum's now going to be switched to, and the Freljord combo looking to be locked away here for Vici.
To me, it's more so the idea that Lissandra empowers easyhoon to impact his side lanes more so than Azir does, simply because she's more comfortable with running the double teleport, rather than Azir, who's more reliant on maybe running an exhaust or another defensive summoner as opposed to TP.
Yeah, it's a very good point. At the moment, Tank's looking at the Malzahar, which was overlooked actually in the ban phase. Probably should have pointed that out to everyone, but the purple Void Man is going to make his way in. Of course, him and Lissandra play relatively similarly as well. I mean, a lot of CC. However, Malzahar a little less mobile and has a little more single target focused damage.
Yeah, Raz and I were actually having this conversation upstairs, going over, you know, the rise and popularity of Malzahar from Korea, now spilling to China as it is locked in, and just this idea that he's very similar to Lissandra. He's going to have great wave control.
Yep.
But he's not as mobile. He's not able to impact as many side lanes. But the counter there is make sure that easyhoon can't be unlocked to impact anywhere, so constantly shoving him in. I kind of equate him almost to Swain as well, kind of a mixture of Lissandra and Swain, just because of this idea that he's one of the few champions that can damage someone under tower and not risk his positioning for it. So if you think about LeBlanc can do the same thing. She pokes you underneath tower, but she has to use her distortion and dive back in. Malzahar literally just drops his horde of creeps. They push you under tower, they auto-attack you, and then he drops his Maleficent Visions on you and walks away. He's like underneath his tower and you're just taking damage. You're like, this is fun. I'm having fun.
I'm not having a good time. Why am I silenced? This is awful. These weird doors are closing out of the void and I just don't know what's going on. So Sivir is going to be locked in alongside it though. For Martin will be able to give the Malzahar a little bit more movement speed. I actually really like that combination, as over the other side, Dandy takes away his coveted Nidalee pick, as well as Endless locking in the Lucian. So powerful bottom lane here. And you can see Lung having his pick saved until last.
And it makes sense that they would look towards the classic combo of Lucian and Braum for Caveman and Endless, simply because, frankly, Vici's bot lane is pretty lackluster, and so they really rely on a strong combination to bypass their inability to 2v2 on their own. Yeah. Although we should also see a lot of attention paid by Dandy. He likes to gank the bottom lane, simply because there's more people to snowball down there, more people to kill.
Interesting thing is that Snake do look like they're trying to find a mid laner right now, meaning that we will have a Malzahar top lane, potentially.
We really wouldn't be that surprised. It is Flandre. He likes to set a bar. Likewise, Malzahar top has been played in Korea. By Trace, I believe.
I believe it was also played in Season 1 by a man called Suche.
Mine is a bit more relevant, but we'll go with yours.
Just originally, of course, a top laner, so it makes a whole lot of sense that Flandre will be moving towards the top side of the map. And we'll see what Lung is going to pick into it. As, of course, we were projecting something like an Azir pickup for Tank. Throwing a little bit of a curveball now.
But how does this change, then, Malzahar from the mid lane towards the top side of the map? So, again, fairly low mobility. He does like to push. He naturally has really strong push, so it does open Flandre up to gank pressure. Again, he's going to act very much in a similar pattern that Swain will, where he's strongest when he is pushing forward and able to get that chip damage without you being able to respond. Running the teleport, again, so he's fairly immobile in his own lane, can be opened up for ganks, but making teleport plays across map, the immediate hard CC and that incredible range of 700 cast range is still very punishing. So we'll see how Flandre plays around that, and if SOFM can cover his lackluster or overextended lane phase is what we'll call it.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And one thing that I do really like, though, is Vici's response. They pick up the Maokai. There is a lot of AoE damage in the Sivir and Azir combination. Maokai was always seen as a sort of semi-counter to that due to the fact that Vengeful Maelstrom will stop a lot of that AoE damage. But also, he can now just comfortably build into this magic resist, double AP. It's going to be very, very handy. And Lung can stick to that playstyle that he has utilized for so long, which is facilitate his team effectively, and they're going to have a lot of pick potential now with Dandy able to gank both of these lanes very effectively and bring enough damage to make up for the fact that there's a big tank towards the top side and easygoon utility-focused mid laner.
That's the biggest thing, the fact that the Twisted Advance and the Frozen Tomb are both there to help set up kills for Dandy. He needs to make the most of this Nidalee pick early, simply because Nidalee will fall off in relation of what Rek'Sai is going to bring late game. So Dandy needs to make it count and get his team snowballed.
Well, we'll see whether he can do that, because he's against SOFM, and if there's ever a stylistic change here, I mean, the cerebral playstyle that you get with the Rek'Sai wanting to follow around those tremor sensors, make sure you're setting up vision for your team, does feel like a Dandy thing. However, Dandy on that invading style jungler in the Nidalee, and we'll see how things are going to go. Coaches are going to shake hands. Let's get into game number 1 for our final set of the week. And here we are. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Our first dragon is going to be a Cloud Drake. Not all that exciting. May not see too much fun around the Dragon Pit early on in this game.
It doesn't matter. It's not about the Dragon Pit. Snake really don't care about that. What they care about is your Raptor camp, your Krug camp, your blue buff, your red buff. And I'm not joking. Look at this composition. That is an Azir, a Malzahar, and a Sivir. What do all three of those champions do really well, Atlas?
Kill people?
They push. They are all really good at pushing. And why is that important? It's because their jungler is SOFM. And inside those pushes, he's going to slip within Dandy's jungle, and he's going to try to 1v1 him. That is the SOFM way.
Well, we'll see whether he can actually get it done, because Dandy is on a champion that he has a lot of power on, a lot of 1v1 potential himself, and a lot of invade potential as well. As Vici setting up with 3 members, as you can see the Boomerang doing a fair bit of damage to easygoon and Caveman, and they wander over some vision as they make their way back towards their side of the jungle. Looks like standard lanes will ensue, as Snake have stepped away from their largely lane swapping tendencies.
Should give an initial advantage to Endless and Caveman, at least in the 2v2. Again, Lucian Braum, a very coveted duo, known for their dueling power, although typically when you lane across from Sivir, you're laning across some creeps.
Yep, very good point.
All eyes on these junglers, what Dandy is going to do. If Vici will be able to get their counter pushes and collapse on SOFM when he looks for these aggressive invades, or maybe SOFM will adjust his style. He firmly believes in this idea that I get myself ahead first and then I use my power to impact my lanes. Has shown to be both a strength and weakness for Snake.
Very true. As easygoon just picking up everything that Tank is throwing at him. Picks up all of the farm there as well. Tank with the shove advantage working out well, as Endless finds the piercing light. JZ with a decent pulverize though in response, but Martin does have to be very careful. The Lucian so strong early.
But this is, again, to be expected. Still waiting for those points in W and in Q for Martin to shove out and start making Lucian choose between hitting the creeps and hitting her. But for now, Caveman and Endless in complete control. And again, Vici compensating for their lackluster bot lane by giving them a very powerful champion duo.
As you can see, Aladdin running away from that tree. Of course, barely knows what one of those are just because, you know, lives in the desert. Very confusing. Ran a long way from that one, but we'll be able to pick up the minions as they are underneath the turret. And Dandy takes away his blue buff. SOFM grabs himself the Rift Scuttler, and of course, Dandy on the Nidalee not going to be farming as safely or as healthily after the changes.
So can I talk about kind of the differences between these two jungles pathing? So Dandy has picked up both his buff, both the red and the blue buff. But this is actually fairly common from SOFM. He'll skip one of his buffs. This time around it was the blue buff, and he'll prioritize Scuddler vision.
Yep.
So again, being very aware that Dandy likes to prioritize the bottom side of his map and his ganks, figuring out that he was starting on the top side of the map and countering that effectively just through jungle pathing by making sure that he gets control of vision over the bottom side.
And actually did sort of his earlier style, which was take all of his small camps, and actually left the red buff until after he'd dealt with all of those.
Likes to have that immediate power for ganking to last longer. And he's actually contesting Dandy, I think, for another Rift Scuddler, although Dandy does manage to get it.
Yeah, pulls that one away. SOFM back over to the Grump. And will continue power farming, grabs himself a possible blue buff here. Might give it to Tank, as easyhoon taking a lot of harassment from this Azir. Understandable stuff, though, as Lissandra can sometimes struggle in this matchup early on.
But it's all been calm so far. But the thing is that SOFM's jungle is about to go empty, and that's when things typically start to explode, is when he starts to wander in to contest Krugs or Raptors or drop deep vision, contest them on second timers. In fact, he's actually going to go ahead and give Tank a very early blue buff. So this is also a fairly standard pathing that we've seen from Rek'Sai's. Obviously not as reliant on the blue buff as other junglers, like Nidalee.
Yep. Well, we'll see whether he can utilize it. As in goes Vici one more time. Martin just running directly away from Caveman, waiting for the Winter's Bite before he uses that spell shield. Doesn't have to. So now you can see Jay-Z making his way back into the lane.
Should be noted
a bit more comfortable.
That pings were going down bottom, and Dandy is now looking to contest inside SOFM's jungle. So using the power and speed of Nidalee, he did manage to get in a back. Yes, he's down in jungle camps, but again, if you check their items, has purchased and now contesting this Rek'Sai.
Yeah, a lot of vision available here as well, as Dandy does have that ward on the Krug camp, and Long taking a Malefic Visions for his trouble, some Voidlings following him down the lane. And those guys are a little bit more scary than the mini trees that were chasing Flandre.
Big thing Malzahar is known for is his wave control, or his lane control. So starting to get to that point as he's bullying Maokai off these creep waves, although looking for that double Doran, see if he has enough sustain to deal with this.
Precisely, as Caveman does throw down the Winter's
spear.
Bite. In goes Dandy. Yeah, exactly right. Nice spell shield comes in. The Hunted not quite there, as Jay-Z gets a good double Pulverize, and Snake. Fantastic disengage play here towards the bottom side.
And all this is really buying is just space for Endless and Caveman to continue to kind of abuse their organic lead that they already have through champion matchups. So starting to see that in the CS, 33-43 right now.
Yeah, you can see Martin wants his hammer picked up relatively soon. Dandy gets himself a nice spear onto this wolf camp, and we'll start clearing out that jungle one more time. SOFM, though, it's Raptor Camp steal number one, but the Krugs, that's where the money's at for Oscar. And
this is also where SOFM has been caught out multiple times. But looks like he's going to get away with this one this time around. But look at Flandre. Immediately forces the wave up, and they're responding. Dandy now 2v1.
Yeah, flashes the wall, actually, does SOFM. Almost could have just taken the tunnel back over, but Dandy is just going to pounce out of the way. That Summoner spell burnt, but you know exactly what SOFM wants to do. That is kill as many people as possible, and he'll use everything in order to do so.
Yep, the immediate aggression, and again, 30-20 now, so really starting to punish Dandy, taking resources from his own jungle, wants to find those 1v1s.
He's
and
got
likewise,
a Tiamat.
His team responding. Oh god, that itemization. That's SOFM.
We didn't look at that one, but I don't think we really want to.
No, it's, I mean, we saw...
Yeah, everyone's been doing it. I mean, it's just the order that I'm questioning at the moment, Proskrin.
Well, he's jungling fast enough that he doesn't really need the added assistance of his completed jungle item.
Oh my goodness.
Wants that immediate damage threat. It's also going to help him jungle faster.
Yeah, very true. And it's showing in the CS here as 37-21 as far as jungle camps removed is concerned. Dandy's still paying some attention here towards the bottom side as Martin going to get his spell shield popped.
And this is the strong side of the map that Dandy really has left to him. So again, the fact that Endless and Caveman, although hold on.
Yeah, Tank actually taking some damage here. easyhoon not pulling the trigger on the Frozen Tomb.
Yeah.
He's moving up towards SOFM.
Chose not to look for the ultimate.
Wow, in goes Long as SOFM's going to knock him up. Doesn't quite understand the power that this Rek'Sai has as he gets stopped afterwards by the sapling. Spear not going to land as Dandy's still looking for more. You can see Tank setting himself up here as easyhoon is down. There's the Nether Grasp as in goes easyhoon. Massive amount of AoE damage there from the Circle of Frost as SOFM is going to be the target of choice. They do manage to get first blood for Flandre, but immediately traded as SOFM falls down. Dandy unable to get back into the fight as Malefic Visions are doing work on Long. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but empowering Flandre this early is so scary.
And likewise, Martin and Jay-Z have been unlocked from their lane, so they're no longer sitting down bottom. They're trying to possibly look for a dive. They're not going to find it, though, but they certainly will get a lot of damage down on this tower.
Yeah, Long is going to be able to make his way home. Flandre continues clearing out minions in this tower. It's now a lane swap. And Snake are going to put a whole lot of pressure down here.
This is something that Snake do over and over. Constantly, Martin's actually been falling behind. This happened against Aimee as well. He fell down 3 levels and about 40 CS. He's finding himself in a very similar hole this time around. They immediately will pull him from the lane. Like, there's no reason to continue to ram yourself in a 2v2 that you've already lost. And they'll try to minimize the loss by trading objectives when they're technically weaker on one side of the map. So it's actually one of the very clever things that Snake does.
Well, you can see SOFM now has himself his Chilling Smite available. And that Tiamat still sitting there. But pulling out to an incredible lead as far as creeps are concerned. Some of them lane creeps now as he cleared out the mid lane. Dandy delivers a blue buff over to easyhoon.
The biggest difference on these teams right now is where their strong side of the map is. So very clearly, Snake have control over the top side of the map, whereas Dandy and Vici have established a stronghold over the bottom side of the map. Unfortunately for Vici, it's just a Cloud Drake. If that was an Infernal Drake, they'd be in a much healthier position. So now the question is, can they transfer this power that they have in Endless and Caveman and the bottom side of the map and try to make something with it?
Yeah. Well, you can see Tank actually getting some aggression onto easyhoon, who's got the Frozen Tomb. Will be able to use that on himself if anything is going to go awry, but Tank's still farming out very nicely, keeping even here with easyhoon. As you can see, Martin playing aggressively. SOFM steals it. Very rude.
And again, now Vici are starting to lose control over their one strong side of the map. A dive is being set up here. They do have TP from Flandre if they want to pull the trigger, although Vici very clearly know what's up.
Yeah, Lung's level 8 at the moment. Of course, did manage to pick up that kill as well, so he's feeling quite good. Does have the Mercury's Treads at the same time. We'll see how early Endless is going to be picking up this QSS as well, because wants to keep himself safe from that Nether Grasp. Now just dealing with this minion wave, but Martin's starting to get the wave clear.
I want to quickly talk about the itemization from Flandre, actually. So there's been some debate around Sorc shoes versus Ionian shoes, although as I say that, SOFM is invading and contesting.
Yeah, well, Dandy is actually not going to get knocked up just
yet.
yet.
Oh, deep teleport.
Yeah, huge, but it's going to be cancelled there from Long. Decides to head back up towards the top side, and Snake might have an opportunity to take this Cloud Drake if they want to.
Definitely have a window where they could use and abuse the TP cooldown.
Yeah. And this gold is entirely even. I mean, Snake ahead by about 200 gold, and that is entirely SOFM. 69 to 40 as far as jungle camps are concerned at 11 minutes into this game is ludicrous. That is a gigantic lead. It's now Dandy looking for Flandre. Doesn't have his passive up here as well, as Long is looking for the Twisted Advance. They get the flash. That is a big deal because this guy is very immobile.
And, okay, this is perfect. So going back to the Ionian boots. So yes, Malzahar is incredibly immobile. Typically in the mid lane, you'll see him take Ghost as Flash. Very reliant on the Flash because, again, his initiation is about that crazy long-range ultimate. Flash forward, oppresses you. The Ionian boots I favor personally because it's going to give you the 10% reduction for your summoner spells. I think it's just so key to Malzahar's combo, as well as the added CDR in his standard build of going for that Morello into Ionian into Rylai's.
Yeah, and it gives you that buffer of 30% CDR very, very early on as well, so that you can start just spamming out those spells. As you can see, Long was looking for the Arcane Smash, gets it as well, so that passive now done. 30 seconds. He has to wait before that one's back up again. And
of course, the counter to this idea is the fact that one of Malzahar's spells actually just has a flat cooldown, so you don't get that much CDR out of it, and that's his Q.
Yep.
It's really just his E and Ultimate and Voidlings that you're going to be affecting. But I just think it's the idea that the summoner spell and the combo of Malzahar is just such a key part of his success.
It certainly is. As you can see, Long was able to take down a few of these Voidlings as well, so padding that CS meter and gets himself one ahead now of Flandre, who will be actually able to deal with a lot of the sap magic that Lung's going to be throwing down as well with that Merlinomicon. So good item pickup for a whole lot of different reasons, even though it is just generally what you want to grab first regardless.
Another bottom play being set up, though, right now for Snake. Again, invading, contesting Dandy's resources. Caveman actually trying to chase him off. But again, Flandre has the TP. Longs is still down for a limited amount of time. So there is a window where Snake could play the bottom side of the map with a numbers advantage.
Well, it looks for now that Vici more than happy to let Snake do whatever they want. Move around this map as they see fit. As long with that teleport almost available one more time. Flandre's been sitting on his for quite a while. And easyhoon also has his available. And Vici have the opportunity to make some plays. The
reason why Snake were hesitant is because of the item difference between the 80 carries right now. So just notice that Inless has not only the Caulfield Hammer, but also the BF sword available to him.
Yeah.
So that's where Snake's caution is coming from. So again, they had the opportunity to play on the bottom side of the map with the numbers advantage. Being cautious and respectful to Vici, because that is still their established strong side.
Well, SOFM going to grab himself another red buff. After that Krug camp, of course, Krug is more important as Flandre finds himself a pink ward. Dandy looking for a spear. Ooh, that was cute. Manages to get one onto Flandre there. I believe missed the spear, but he walked onto a trap. Now Dandy looking to try and invade onto this jungle. Clearing out tunnels. We'll get a couple.
Looking to possibly contest this blue buff. Maokai does have the push down.
Yeah, level 10 for SOFM, though, as the Chilling Smite comes down. Dandy tries to pounce, but actually takes a lot of damage here from SOFM, who's so tanky. Flandre getting over the top, but the pounce is there. And the combo from SOFM is enough to get rid of this jungler from Vici.
But they're polling multiple members. Caveman is also on his way. They're trying to brute force this with the numbers advantage.
Yeah, well, Dandy is going to get amongst it as the Twisted Advance comes out from Long. Very tanky right now, almost with his Spirit Visage. Now easyhoon gets over the top. Void Rush gets SOFM to the other side of the map, and they say, well, you want ours, we'll just take yours. As there's the exhaust onto Flandre. He's going to get stunned up from Caveman. Spear lands, and Lung's able to pick up the kill. Tank now, right into the mid lane as easyhoon is going to turn up. We'll have that Glacial Path to get himself underneath this turret, but does he want to be there? Because he's now just trying to deal with this minion wave. Glacial Path does come in. JZ just gets rid of him, and they'll just brute force the outer turret in the mid lane. So nice trade here from Snake.
And it's about to get better because they're also going to get the bottom tower as well, as you actually can see Martin proxy farming down there.
Yeah.
So it will be a kill and a tower traded for 2.
Well, Vici's still very, very even, but you're exactly right. That 1,000 gold lead will come in, and the blue buffs are going to be traded as well as Tank grabs that one. So nice cross-map play, and Snake playing the trading game beautifully here against Vici.
And again, that's not what we really expected. This is part of Snake's identity before SOFM, when their jungler was previously ZZR. They were actually quite intelligent about their lane swapping and trading objectives on the map. But since getting SOFM, they've really relied on the single formula of just isolating jungle matchups and collapsing around their all-star jungle. So it's nice to see them move away from this and actually play a more cerebral game against the likes of Vici.
Yeah, and all SOFM's been doing this game is farming extraordinarily efficiently. He hasn't been putting himself in risky positions. He's identified exactly where Vici are and then moved the other way. As Dandy is going to deny that wolf camp for the moment. Yeah, waiting for the Grand Prix spawn. We'll see whether he's actually going to be able to pick that one up. As you can see, he's sitting there. Spear's going to land, and Flandre not going to be able to do anything as he spawns a little Voidling over the wall and spots the missing Gromp. Nice headbutt Pulverize comes in here as Caveman stands behind his AD carry. SOFM was looking for an engage, but doesn't get it. Dandy going to lock down this Rift Scuttler. Now Flandre possibly overextended right here. So he's throwing this minion wave through, and Dandy, the teleport's coming in. Lung setting it up as Flandre's going to teleport, and Dandy cannot interrupt it. He's just going to jump on top of him, pop the passive. Flandre's going to get himself towards the bottom side.
And they've also got a massive creep wave down there. So again, favor and tempo for Snake as they're applying pressure mid and bot lane.
Yeah.
And that's double teleport burnt for Vici.
And you can see as well, this is Martin able to shove out this wave completely. They'll probably be able to get some decent damage onto this inner turret as well with 4 members here. Lung trying to set himself up. You can see 5 members now down as Flandre can lock up one single target. It is going to be Lung as SOFM has to get himself out of there. Lung with the Spirit Visage is going to be safe for the moment. His Malefic Visions and the Ignite not going to be enough. Vengeful Maelstrom is popped. And Snake, with 5 members strong, cannot lock down that inner turret.
So a beautifully orchestrated play, trying to make that cross-map exchange again for the inner bot tower. Unfortunately, Vici are able to stave them off. Good job from Long, itemizing correctly, but this is just part of the punishment of building into a double AP composition. Malzahar and Azir, that Spirit Visage counts for so much, and more importantly, that Maokai counts for so much.
Oh, certainly.
It's going to be a long road ahead of Snake before Sivir really comes online, and they have a secondary damage threat.
Well, that stage, Endless now building for a little bit more late game damage as well in this Lucian with that Essence Reaver build. We'll have that 30% CDR from the item after that extra crit has been built up. Looking for something like a Rapid Fire Cannon, like a Phantom Dancer as item number 2. And then into a potential, I guess, Infinity Edge, maybe even the Last Whisper variant. Now Dandy continuing to get aggressive here onto the jungle of SOFM. And SOFM has found himself Caveman. This could be a problem as he's taking a lot of damage from this Rek'Sai with his Tiamat.
I mean, at this point, Snake really just need to pull the trigger and look towards the Cloud Dragon. It feels like both teams have been relatively hesitant to do so, but it's just kind of the easy and free objective, and they seem so keen to start a fight.
Yeah, and you can see Snake still with a lot of pressure here towards the bottom side of the map. Martin down here as well, as you can see the collapse into the mid lane for Snake. They just don't really care. Top side of the map doesn't have a Baron. It's a minute until that guy is there, so they'll just ignore it.
It's where they've placed all of their golden resources as well in terms of their vision. So if you expend, 500 gold placing wards throughout this, you better play around it.
Damn right, and they're doing so quite nicely. There's Tank now going to clear out this vision. Sorry, this creep wave, and SOFM's going to start off this Cloud Drake. So you're right, biting the bullet, taking the Cloud.
It's fine. Quickly get us to the next dragon. Takes one for the team.
Mm-hmm.
But it also means that Vici, not keen to face check into this Enshrouded challenge. I'm sure that Dandy might poke his head in just to see what's happening. Oh, the double Cloud.
Double Cloud. What does it mean? Hoping for the triple. Fingers crossed.
Stings.
It certainly does. Blue buff has respawned. Long looking to try and punch it. But those roots don't do a whole lot of damage. So Rift Herald is going to revisit the Void, making room for Mr. Bazkebeb.
But again, Vici, they have the perfect timer on this blue. They were able to steal it away last time. Again, looking to continue to contest that major objective.
Yep, you can see Long pretty happily smacking away on these Voidlings. Doesn't take a whole host of damage from the Malefic Visions as well. So he's very, very happy. Glacial Shroud now built up, so 20% CDR for the Maokai. So will be a CC bot come the late game, and he's just not reliant on getting items.
There is an opportunity for Vici, however. They know that Snake will try to trade for their blue buff, and so what they're doing is they're setting a trap. Yeah. And so making sure that they can control both of the camps. It's pretty heavy to deny that away from Azir. Likewise, Nidalee is going to be incredibly reliant on having blue for herself as well as Lissandra. So this is actually a fairly decent win for Vici and their jungle control.
Yeah, and Dandy will have that Rylai's Crystal Scepter built up now as well. Actually decides to cancel the back, clearing out even more vision. You see traps placed around, but there are not a lot of jungle camps ever available on this one with a Nidalee and a Rek'Sai running around. And Snake now getting some work done here towards the top side.
So next most important objective for Snake would be that mid-tier tower, but they need to take control of the top side of the map by getting their waves pushed past river, and then moving into Dandy's red side jungle and placing down triangle vision. Which is why you see Caveman and Dandy placing down counter vision in the top side river.
Yeah. Vici now as well, trying to keep things pushed out. Of course, wave clear not a problem for either of these teams, really, if we include the fact that Endless can rip apart a creep wave quite quickly. Even on items for both of these AD carries now as well, 192 and 194. Martin caught himself right back up.
Deep teleport behind Tank, though. Here comes EasyHoon.
Yeah, looking for it as EasyHoon's trying to find the Azir. He will home guard his way in as there's the Frozen Tomb coming down onto Tank. Immediately cleanses it out of the way, but a lot of damage comes in. Circle of Frost gets himself the flash as he tries to get out of the way. Misses the Q as EasyHoon's underneath the turret with not a lot to do. Dandy picks it up with a spear as Zhonya's is there from EasyHoon, but he will fall down to Martin. And Snake do go 1 for 1. Vici probably could have done that one a little bit better.
Phenomenally played by Snake to make, or excuse me, by Tank to make sure that it even trades 1 for 1.
Yeah.
Good cleanup by Dandy to nail the spear, but EasyHoon frankly missed, I think, 3 different skill shots.
Yeah, I caught my words in my face just because I wasn't expecting half of that to happen. Unlike EasyHoon to misplay in a lot of these key scenarios. Snake now with a 400 gold lead. That is nothing right now. And Vici probably pretty happy as they move towards the later stage of the game. But Snake also, I mean, they've got the Azir, they've got the Sivir. Probably just want to wait till this one's moving forward. Long almost with his Frozen Heart done. 30% CDR will then be on him and also be slowing down the attack speed of both the Sivir and the Azir, which is very good news.
That play, however, was incredibly desperate from Vici. They really wanted to break that last standing outer and mid.
Well, red buff now going to be contested here from Snake and stolen away as Dandy doesn't get the smite.
Another deep teleport. Vici trying to make the exact same play again.
Yeah, long just twisted advance option available. But Snake do all group up. There are a whole host of pink wards here as well, as SOFM getting aggressed on Lung right out in front on his own as Vengeful Maelstrom is there. Flandre gets over the top as there's the ultimate. They try to lock down the super tank, who does flash his way out. Now Vici trying to kite this one around. easyhoon, Frozen Tomb no longer available, and there's the silence. And Tank picks up the Hoon. SOFM exhausted as Caveman's going to get destroyed now as well. Flandre picks that one up, and Snake with a really great re-engage. And Vici, they probably don't need to make that play.
And Vici don't have the sustained damage to look for those types of fights either. Their composition is kind of a hit and run, so they need to walk in, drop down their CC, and immediately burst someone. The longer these team fights go on, as you can see, Long actually going to fall to some of the sustained damage, the stronger Malzahar, Azir, and Sivir will be.
Well, you can see Snake really capitalizing now, pulling out to the first real gold lead at 3,000. Here at 25 minutes into this game.
And frankly, Vici's composition is going to fail them at this point in the game.
Yeah.
Snake's comp will vastly outscale them. Vici were kind of strong on that mid-game power spike with easyhoon in particular on Azir. They really needed Dandy to find a solid lead on this Nidalee, and unfortunately, SOFM just did a phenomenal job finding Dandy, shutting him down, and stealing his resources. So
he didn't even need to find Dandy, he just needed to find his Krug camps.
More importantly, was the Rift Scuttler.
Yeah.
That initial, priority on the vision rather than his buffs was actually pretty massive, because that's typically where Dandy starts to find his initial snowball, is when he gets that successful gank bottom, but that was really denied and a lot of momentum lost from that. At this point, Vici are kind of looking at a miracle. Their window of opportunity for being effective on this composition is very tiny, and it's starting to close.
It certainly is. And SOFM has himself that Locket of the Iron Solari as well, actually avoiding the Titanic Hydra at the moment. And he's very large on this Rek'Sai. Dandy looking to clear out vision, will do so. As Long waiting towards the top side. Vici still wanting to make a proactive play, but that window slipping away.
So what needs to happen right now is easyhoon has to hit pretty key targets, which is difficult because right now Tank does have his cleanse available. Likewise, Martin has the spell shield, but you're talking, needs to get into that back line, pretty much annihilate either Sivir or Azir right off the bat. And Dandy needs to follow up and find that assassination, but if he doesn't get that, the team fight is lost.
Yeah, well, Snake going to bite the bullet, grab themselves their second Cloud Drake. I hope the next one's a third. Oh, it is the dream.
That's nice.
Yep. So Deadman's Cloud Drake buff going to be circling around them as Vici gets spotted out here by Flandre, who wants the fight. Nethergrass comes in onto Caveman, who gets healed up by the Primal Surge, but do they have the follow-up damage? Teleport's coming in, but Caveman will be dead. Tank picks up the kill as easyhoon now right on top of everyone, has to flash his way out. Actually, no, uses the glacial path at least, so holds on for the moment.
You have to think it's a bit of a questionable call to continue the teleport when SOFM is just confidently sitting underneath the ward waiting for you to come in.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the point of the game that we're at.
Pretty ridiculous stuff. As the back from Endless grabs himself a BF sword. Still ahead on the Lucian, but honestly hasn't been participating in anything. 0-0-0 right now. And SOFM grabs himself a present. Just clears out vision one more time. Actually not going to be able to find that one. We'll see whether Vici can make any plays, find anything across this map. They haven't bled too much more gold as far as that lead is concerned, but Flandre is just getting slowly further and further ahead as Baron gets a bit mad at SOFM. He uses his Locket of the Iron Solari to keep himself above half health.
Things certainly calming down, so with the Dragon down, there's a 6-minute window where Snake can play towards that Baron. Need to make sure that they have control of their wave so they can safely move in as a unit, not get chunked out like SOFM just did.
Yeah.
But this is kind of the next big play and opportunity. And likewise, kind of Vici's last chance to take a stand for this game. If Snake are a bit overzealous, don't respect the Baron damage, or maybe get locked down in a small choke point against the AoE power of easyhoon's Lissandra, still a potential chance for Vici to turn this around.
I think a lot of it stems from Long as well, getting into position to properly peel for his team, provide that damage reduction as Tank's found Caveman. Nice Winter's Bite comes in, a stand behind me, lands onto easyhoon. Glacial Path comes in, but Snake ignore it completely as Flandre is looking for Long, who is going to get caught out. There's the Emperor's Divide as well as Nethergraft gets some work done. He can't Twisted Advance over that one, and Martin's going to be able to grab the pick.
And it's just so hard to get away from Malzahar, not only because he had the lockdown there as well as the Emperor's Divide, but the fact that Rylai's works on all of his abilities, including his Voidlings. It gives them a 20% slow for a second, is pretty obscene.
Well, there's the Flash Pulverizes. Dandy's delivered to Snake. Flashes out of the pit quite nicely and will keep himself safe as easyhoon gets the Circle of Frost, but he may have to ult himself, does so, and gets a fair bit of damage across. Caveman's in there, but they really need their tank. He's not alive just yet. Caveman sacrifices himself. Snake have relatively low health bars, so I think that the Baron may be saved, and Long's going to be up very soon. Dandy in trouble. Nethergrass not there just yet from Flandre.
I mean, good news is that Vici managed to stave off the Baron, but the question is for how much longer can they hang on like this?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that number is all that high for Oscar. And as you can see, Long grabs himself at least 40% CDR. Now Martin moving down towards the bottom side will clear out this minion wave. Does so very quickly. We'll see whether he can complete the Infinity Edge on this next back, and that 3-item spike is going to feel very good for this Sivir. And there it is, so big damage from Martin.
And again, Snake reset their waves, Flandre in the bottom, making sure that he can push that one past the river, Martin responding to the top side. And we're going to have round 2 as Snake will get these creep waves, all pushing against Vici to open up space for them to again walk into that Baron pit.
They'll do so very quickly as well. There's Dandy looking to get some deep vision in. We only have a small moment of time as Endless can't go towards that bottom side to answer that creep wave. Has to be easyhoon, who does have the teleport. Dandy clears out his jungle once again.
Very clever wards coming out from Vici, however. They didn't just ward on the pit, they actually warded behind it. So trying to hide their vision from the incoming pinks from Snake.
Well, on the hunt's in there, as you can see, easyhoon decides not to take that Glacial Path. SOFM slowed down as the teleport's coming in. Vici, they want the fight as Long's going to cancel it eventually.
You do not want that fight.
Yeah, I was going to say. I've seen them commit to similar teleports, however. I could have been fooled.
They look so disorganized right now, just desperate. They understand that this is, again, like the last chance to try to make something happen, but it's not cohesive and it's not together. The fact that, you know, trying to make a TP play like that when the Sun Turret can easily split the fight.
Yeah. Well, once again, easyhoon throws out the claw, but another overly optimistic one. Doesn't have the flash to follow up. As Dandy moves very quickly. SOFM not going to be able to lock him down. Endless. Odd positioning there as he is going to get silenced. Flandre gets the Nethergrass. Nice use of the QSS. Does keep him alive. It's now Lung and Caveman taking more damage. You can see Flandre is just able to get a whole lot of work done with that gate. And now Snake are going to start off the Baron.
Again, bullying Vici away from this. Dandy has to check into this blind. There's so much vision set up.
Oh my god, it's torn apart. The Baron falls down. SOFM locks it up. The culling flies through, and Long has the Vengeful Maelstrom, but it's just not going to be enough here. As you can see, Endless getting some decent damage onto SOFM. Long is going to fall down as Martin locks that one in, and now the follow-up comes through. Nice Glacial Fissure comes through to break up this fight for Vici. And Martin flashing. What was that, buddy? Dandy's going to be able to lock up that kill, as now easyhoon finds this as a time to go in. Flandre gets Caveman. And easyhoon is going to fall down. Tank doing a lot of damage off to the side as Vici may have now bitten off too much more than they can chew. And the double kills comes in from Snake, but that was messy across the board.
And even in a massive misplay where Martin effectively flashes forward into certain death, Snake managed to come out on top. Yes, they had the creep wave coming in. It was Baron and Powered. It did a lot of the work for them, as well as their gold lead speaking for itself. But that's really the only mistake that Snake have made this entire game. Otherwise, very clean performance from them. And this is what we needed. If the question was, you know, Snake, they don't have the achievements on their resume to warrant being an elite LPL team. This is kind of the turning point if they can really shut down Vici, and they've done a great job so far.
And it's how they're doing it as well, really identifying where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, and Flandre's stepping up on another one of his unorthodox top lane picks.
Following in the steps of Trace from Korea as we take a look at that replay. And again, it's really Tank and those Barrett empowered creeps doing a majority of the work on the back half. But Martin, a little bit overzealous, buddy.
Yeah, got a little bit excited. As you can see, that is 6,700 damage for Flandre. That is ridiculous.
And we've seen a lot of respect for Malzahar throughout the LPL since he appeared in Korea and has now made his way into our region.
Yeah.
Usually perma-banned. This time around being used as a flex pick. And the fact that, you know, if you look at Snake's draft, phenomenal. The fact that Lissandra was the priority over the likes of Azir, yes, Tank hasn't really been known as the cleanest Azir player, but it's just such a power pick for easyhoon. The triple Cloud.
I know, look at them. Look at the sweet buff.
But you have to acknowledge that there were massive mistakes in Vici's draft. Their composition, they basically just got out-comped. At this point, they're going to get run over. There's nothing that they really have left in the tank other than a miracle.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now setting up the siege here on this Baron inhibitor. Of course, mid lane inhib did fall down. As you can see now, Vici desperately trying to hold on. Thankfully, no Mountain Drakes there, so this tower is going to take a little bit more of a beating. But from these members, from this damage that's on Snake's side, may look like they have a few Mountain Drakes with them as well. Long setting up for this flanking. Players on the hunt has been popped. They're looking to try and set up for this one as Flandre flashes out of the way. Endless. Free to get damage down, but Jay-Z sees to that with the headbutt. In goes SOFM, looking for a knock-up. You can see Long is already dead as Dandy trying to kite this one back. Double kill comes in for Tank now as Snake are cleaning up. Endless gets some work done. But the triple kills there. Tank had already done the work that he needed, and now Snake looking to get to work on these Nexus turrets and finish the game.
And Snake make it look all too easy right there. Phenomenally played from early, mid, and late. They took control at about 20 minutes in this game, and they never let up.
They most certainly didn't. And the unorthodox comp with the Malzahar top, as well as all of that pushing power. And you mentioned it very early on in this game. The fact that they were able to push up the creep waves, give SOFM so much room on his rec side, just looked like a plan that they had in place and executed on it perfectly.
And playing cross-map objective trading when Vici did finally actually step up and try to play their cerebral game wasn't what we really expected from Snake, so showing that they do have another page in their playbook. And again, this match is incredibly important. Yes, they came out strong in Game 1, but they need to be consistent and definitive, close this series out, and prove that they are a top team for the LPL instead of falling down in playoffs like they historically have done in the past.
Yeah, this is the thing. Of course, last playoffs, they managed to win one series, I believe, and then fell. We'll see whether they can make it any further, as we are going to have a look at some highlights from that last game. Snake just looking like they had it more together, setting themselves up more effectively. And also helping out their weak point as well, that bottom lane falling behind in the 2v2. However, it didn't matter. They just got out of that situation. Martin farmed himself up and was absolutely fine.
Yep, and frankly, at this point in the highlights, there was nothing that Vici could do. It was too little too late on their composition on the gold deficit. They'd have to have a miracle 4v5 scenario where Martin would flash in and insta-die, and even then, too little too late.
Yeah, and they just didn't have the damage moving into the later stages of the game. The fact that Long was so important for this team, but just couldn't get enough done with enough follow-up from Vici. And Dandy a little bit outclassed as far as the farm was concerned on the Nidalee.
I also think that it was a massive mistake to prioritize Nidalee there and to give away Rek'Sai so freely.
Yeah.
There was a lot of attention in the draft phase given to the mid lane, as well as, I believe, a Gragas and a Hecarim ban. So the fact that Dandy was kind of forced in kind of this second-tier jungler, as opposed to looking maybe towards the Elise or the Kha'Zix, which have found a lot more success and popularity recently in the LPL.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And something like the Elise could have really helped out as far as changing the tone. I mean, just say, well, I'm not going to farm out my jungle. I'm just going to kill all of your teammates and see whether that can be what gets him over the line. And we'll see whether Vici are going to be able to change it as we do go to a short break. But when we get back, Game 2 between Vici and Snake, and we'll see whether Vici can fight back.